Welcome in everyone to the first week of college football. Game one for your WSU Cougars. Portland State is in town today for an 11 o'clock start. I'm Rex Carlin with KQQQ Radio in Pullman. This is Jacob Thorpe from the Spokesman Review. Early morning, Jacob.
Yeah, it's going to be an early one, but it should be a good one. The Cougars had 7 consecutive night games to start the season last year. I think we're all ready for a nice bit of morning college football to start the season.
First ever Periscope pregame show here for you. This is live right now. We'll also put it online for you to watch in the couple hours before the game. Let's get into this matchup real quick. Portland State from the Big Sky. Not one of those typical Big Sky powerhouses like Eastern or Montana. What sort of a challenge or lack thereof could they give the Cougars today?
Well, they do a lot of things differently, Rex, and that's sort of the beauty of this game for the Cougars is that, let's be honest, if they lose this game, they're in for a long season. This is not a team they should ever lose to. And you hear about those FCS upsets, this isn't one of those teams. The Portland State Vikings have never beaten a Pac-12 team. Washington State is 45-2 against teams from the Big Sky, so you're not worried about taking a loss in this one. But what Portland State will do is they will test Alex Grinch's new defense. They're going to make these Cougars work. They put 2-3 quarterbacks on the field. They have 4 guys that play quarterback that also play some variation of running back or wide receiver, and they are not above throwing a couple trick plays. In fact, last year they started with one. This year you can expect more of the same, and that's going to make this new defense really work. They're going to have to be true to their assignments. They're going to have to be able to really utilize what Coach Grinch taught them over the course of just a few preseason weeks, or else Portland State's going to get behind them. They're going to put some points on the board. We know the Cougars will score. The Vikings might too.
So if you're Coach Alex Grinch or this defensive staff, this is actually the ideal situation. A team that could stretch you, but probably doesn't have the talent to come out with a win.
Oh, this is what teams really want in their scheduling these days. The traditional model of the big non-conference opponent, the medium non-conference opponent, and these guys non-conference opponent, that's sort of dead. What you want now is wins. You're going to get, in the Pac-12 schedule, you are going to prove to everybody, if you make it through, that you deserve to be in the playoffs or wherever you're trying to get to at the end of the season if you can win those games. What you want from these early games is to test your team, get everybody into the flow of the season, but you also want to beat a team like this bad enough that backup quarterback Peyton Bender gets some snaps, that your second, third, maybe even fourth running backs and wide receivers are getting some snaps, so that everyone's got on film, everyone's gotten those jitters out of the way before the games start to really become difficult.
Let's switch to the offense real quick. Quarterback Luke Falk coming into his first full season as the starter. What do you need to see from him today against this Portland State defense?
Well, what you really look for is decision making and just a very firm grasp of the offense. If there's a couple interceptions in this game, if he and the wide receivers aren't on the same page, or if it looks like their timing is off, then that could really that could indicate some disadvantages down the road. You're going to Rutgers next week. You better be on point with those passes, and you and the receiver better be on the same page as to what route you're running when. This will also be a good opportunity to see, is Luke checking into the right place? If they bust a big run play and you see Luke pointing and calling people over before the snap, you're going to think, well, it looks like he saw some of the defense. It looks like he made the right read, and it looks like he really is understanding when to and when to not check into those run plays. If the running game kind of struggles against a defense that they should frankly have a field day with, then maybe you think he needs to get back in the film and figure a few things out.
Let's talk about the wide receivers real quick. A group that top to bottom might be the best group Coach Leach has had here in the wide receiving corps. How can this wide receiving group improve against possibly a subpar defensive backfield in Portland State today?
Well, that's a good question, Rex, because it'd be very easy for some of these wide receivers to get a quick catch, run upfield, and get a lot of yards. You know, you saw last year Isaiah Myers was the Pac-12 Offensive Player of the Week, 227 yards, and most of those weren't very hard for him to get. He just ran downfield, beat somebody, got the ball. That doesn't show a whole lot of improvement. That doesn't really translate against UCLA, Oregon's defensive backs. What you want to see is really good timing between Luke and the wide receivers, and then you really want to see excellent route running. You want to see them get downfield, turn on a dime, and make their play. You want to see them really set up a guy and then bust out into the middle of the field. But what you don't want to see is just a simple one-on-one, head-to-head battle that they win, because at this level, you should certainly be able to do that against the Portland State defensive backs.
So what does Coach Leach need to take out of this game? What's the most important factor that he needs to come out of here and going, hey, look, we're on track after this game?
You know, Coach Leach in his 3 years at Washington State, this is entering his 4th season, has never won the first game. They lost at Auburn, they lost last year against Rutgers, and then they lost at BYU his first year. He's never been 1-0, and every time you lose that first game, it makes the pressure on the second game just a little bit higher. You don't have that out of the way. You haven't won your first game yet. They come out of here with a win, they're 1-0. They've done everything they can do to get to a bowl game at that point, and I think that does a lot for the team's confidence and mindset, and that's just simply the best thing that they can get out of this one.
All right, thanks everybody. 11 o'clock start, Coach Alex Grinch's Wazoo debut. I'm Rex Carlin, that's Jacob Thorpe. Enjoy the game.